Hi, my name is Paul Adams, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on transgender athletes and their impact on sports. So, our current climate is one of a lot of confusion and experimentation, whether that be with debates about race or gender or equal pay. But one that I want to focus on specifically is the gender one, and even more specific within that, transgender athletes, specifically male to female athletes, so a biological male undergoing hormone therapy to look more like a biological female. I want to see how that dynamic plays out when those male to female transgender athletes are competing with female athletes at a very, very high level. So let's explore that more. So what's the problem? Besides just a sense of transphobia that people have nowadays, because it is a new thing, and not to defend transphobia, but it's just going to happen. It's natural. I think that there is a sense of people seeing these male to female athletes and seeing them as invaders into the female athlete space, which is completely reasonable. Um, they I know the IAAF just released new guidelines on testosterone levels for transgender athletes. It used to be 10 nanomoles of testosterone per liter of blood. Now they halved it to 5 nanomoles of testosterone per blood. So a lot of people in the transgender community are seeing this as an attack or a message sent by the sport institutions that they don't want them there. I personally see this as the opposite. I think that with stricter regulations on the testosterone, um, I think that actually legitimizes their performances more because it takes away the guessing game at the end. If they won the tournament, the game, the best of three, whatever, if they adhere to these guidelines, people will no longer have to ask themselves, okay, so how much of that win was their testosterone and the way they trained with that testosterone prior to the competition, or how much of that win was their skill and stuff that they worked hard for. Now, the other problem that people have transgender athletes is coming from the female perspective. And a lot of females are feeling cheated and disenfranchised by these transgender athletes coming into their space. Some only being professional, quote unquote, female athletes for a couple months to years. So imagine this athlete who is transgender comes into your sport. Let's say the transgender athlete has only been participating in the sport for about a year and a half. They go to their first major competition and they break 4 world records at the same meet in weightlifting is what I'm talking about, and take number 1 in the female category. Now, if you're a female weightlifter or a female powerlifter, I should say, I'm sorry, you are completely cheated, and that's completely unfair, and you feel like you've been sort of, plotted against, or not plotted against, but you feel like someone's out to get you, that this person can just come in and not only take the win, but, by a significant margin, break these world records. It's very concerning, and I know I have a quote here by Deborah Atkinson from the Australian Federation of Powerlifting that says, "We all deserve to be on an even playing field. It's difficult when you believe that you're not, and if it's not even, then why do you even want to participate in the sport?" I think that Deborah has summed it up very well, and I think that's what a lot of female athletes, especially at the higher levels, who are competing against these transgender athletes, are. So, in my opinion, I think that unless these regulations that the IAAF has instituted will improve the situation, I feel like we should just split up the transgender athletes from the female and from the male as well. There are some female to male athletes. Um, I think that would just give people, a sense of, you know, fairness. I think that we should just separate them, give them their own thing, and then they can thrive and get some news that way. So, in conclusion, lots of injustices going on. Like I said, the one I focus on is gender. The IAAF is trying to institute these regulations to solve all these controversies, but if the regulations don't fix it, then I think we should create a separate league, separate clubs for these transgender athletes, so that they can carve their own space in the sport. Thank you very much.